Hello there, troopers, and welcome back to another episode of The High Ground. Thank you so much for joining me here on General Kenobi's Bunker. So, how is everybody doing this fine Wednesday night? Hope everybody's doing just fine. We already got some people in the chat. What is going on, LeBron Fett? Thank you so much for stopping by, man. I just thought I had just seen you on Instagram, but yeah, thank you. Um, we got a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about. We had a lot of Star Wars, in this last week since we've talked, which is always a good thing in my book. But yeah, we're gonna cover quite a bit tonight. So I hope everybody is doing really good this Wednesday evening. Let me adjust my mic here. So if this is your first time here on the high ground, welcome first of all. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you like this show where here on the high ground we basically talk anything and everything Star Wars. We talk obviously Star Wars toys, which is one of my main focuses, but we also talk Star Wars shows, Star Wars news, and the occasional rip into Hasbro. So yeah, we've been doing quite a bit of that. Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Jeff, what is going on, man? Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you, man. Again, if this is your first time here on the high ground, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope that you go check out the main channel, General Kenobi's Bunker, where we do a lot of toy hunts, toy reviews, and I am actually currently working on a series of reviews for Tales of the Jedi. And don't worry, that is absolutely something we will talk about tonight. Let's just wait for people to sort of trickle in here. Hello there. And yeah, so last night I was actually invited to join the guys at Countdown City Geekcast, and we talked for about an hour and a half with the crew there, just talking Star Wars really. And it was pretty fun. So if you guys want to go check that out, I posted it on my Instagram, and I think I posted it on my community tab, which I now have in the YouTube channel. So yeah, guys, I would greatly appreciate it. Again, if this is your first time, check it out. And if it's something you think you would like, go ahead and subscribe so you can keep up with the videos, with the announcements, the live conversations, the guest spots, all of that stuff. Hey, thank you so much for joining, man. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, how's everybody doing? Did everybody watch Andor already? Came out today, in the morning/night. But yeah, we're getting up there in number of episodes. We only got a few left for the rest of the year. Then again, we don't have much of a year left as well. So I hope that everybody had a very, very awesome Halloween. I hope that you didn't eat too much candy that would make yourself sick. And if you did, I hope that it was at least really good candy to make it worth it. So I hope, again, everybody had an awesome Halloween. If you have pictures of your costume on Instagram, go ahead and tag me. I'd love to see what everybody went as this Halloween. Me, myself, I actually didn't have a Star Wars costume. Well, I take that back. I sort of did, but it didn't really work out the way I wanted to. So I decided to go with just like an inflatable costume. So nothing Star Wars related. I am sad to say. I want to work on one though for next year. Try to have something, with good quality, but we'll see how that turns out. So yeah, if you have pictures of your costumes on Instagram, go ahead and tag me. I'd love to see them. Yeah, I know you've been keeping up, man, with Andor. Fun stuff, and we will talk about that. Yeah, there you go. Good. Yeah. Again, we don't have that many left for the rest of the year, so it should be starting to ramp up quite a bit. Well, we'll just hit the disclaimer. When talking about Andor here on the high ground, we try not to talk about today's episode because it hasn't even been 24 hours, since the episode has been out. So it's not really fair to people, that haven't seen it or haven't had a chance. We all got lives, we all got jobs, etc. So we're all busy. So I know that, to spoil something that's like 15-hour old, episode, it's not very cool. So we try to not talk about today's current episode, but we do have quite a bit to talk about. Oh, before I forget, also today is Day of the Dead. So Feliz Dia de los Muertos to everybody out there that celebrated. I hope you remember your ancestors. I hope you left some good snacks for them to cross over for today and have, some of their favorite stuff: food, drink, candy, you know, maybe some coffee, whatever they enjoyed in life. I hope that you are, remembering those that have moved on to a different realm in the Force. So just wanted to throw that out there. November 2nd. So what should we talk about first? Let's what do you say we talk about Andor first, and we leave Tales of the Jedi more towards the end. Excuse me, because yeah, I just been kind of, on a Tales of the Jedi, like, streaming streak. We talked about it quite a bit last night, like I said, on Countdown City Geekcast. Thank you so much for inviting me, by the way. I really appreciate you guys. And yeah, so let's hit up Andor episode 8, I guess. And good job, man, good job. Yeah, we left some candy from Halloween, of course, but all my grandparents, they loved candy, so we figured it was appropriate. We left out some tequila, of course, because gotta have it, and some fruit and things like that. Some coffee, I think, also. Just the usual stuff, nothing too crazy. We did put up pictures. We did a small shrine here at the house. We're trying to keep the traditions alive, especially now with my son that he just turned 6, so he's more aware of that kind of thing. So yeah, if you celebrate it, happy Day of the Dead. So yeah, let's just dive in right into Andor. So episode, what is it? Episode 8 would be the last one before today's. So we're up to episode 9, guys. We only got 3 more left. So yeah, not a whole lot of Andor left anymore, and that's because we got 12 episodes, right? Um, so episode 8, we see Andor go back home, basically try to make good use of the money that he won with the Aldani job. And of course, he hits up his mom and tries to basically get her out of Dodge, right? He says, "Hey, we gotta go. I don't like the Imperials here, blah blah." And she's like, "Yeah, about that. I'm kind of a rebel now, like, officially." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Yeah, the people that did the Aldani job basically inspired me to create like a local chapter of the rebellion." Uh, to which Andor is like, "Are you serious? Like, I can't believe that this is going on." And so she basically says, "Yeah, no, I'm not leaving. Somebody has to carry on the fight here, and especially now that we are under Imperial control, right?" And so Andor is like, "Well, I know I can't change your mind, so I'm just gonna go and wish you the best, and hopefully, I can help you later down the road, but it's not gonna be right now because it's getting pretty hot for Andor, so he has to bail out of there." He goes says bye to Biggs, of course, and they got the little uh, awkward conversation because they were an ex couple, of course. Not that we didn't know that, but yeah. So he basically bails out. He uses the money, runs. He goes to Miami Beach planet, and he's hooking up with some chick. Chick says, "You know what? I want whatever, I forget what it is, from the 7-Eleven down the road." And as he's walking there, He gets busted because there were some like rebels, quote unquote. I just saw like teenagers running, probably stole something, and so he gets detained. No due process. He just gets taken into the custody, and the judge slams him with the sentence that used to be 6 months. Now it's 6 years, and so he gets sent off to prison. So episode 8 catches up with him arriving to prison. Uh, and it's a pretty creative prison, I gotta say. So they got the thing where everybody's gotta be barefoot, all the inmates, and they have this system that basically electrocutes you, right, all throughout the prison, even in the bunks, right, like even in the dorms, they got that system, so they don't really need a huge like manpower to control all of the inmates, and they are they're labor workers. They're supposedly if you complete so many shifts of your sentence, then you get to go free, right? At least that's the promise. And so yeah, we finally see some familiar faces in this episode because Mon Mothma goes and talks to Luthen, and she basically asks him, like, "Hey, did you do this job? Was this you on Aldani?" And Luthen tries to play it out like, no, no, it's not me. And then he finally caves in. It's like, well, what do you expect? We gotta do something. We need the money, and we basically need the people of the galaxy to suffer. Why? Because that's what's gonna make them mad against the Empire, right? That's what's gonna spark the rebellious acts, because the Empire is cracking down hard on the whole galaxy because of Aldani, and that was Luthen's plan all along. I mean, yeah, of course it's about the money, but it's more about the effect, right? It's more about giving the regular people, the everyday people, that push, to hate the Empire, and therefore, possibly support a rebellion. But I found it very, very interesting that not even Mon Mothma was sure that this was them, right? That this was Luthen. We see Mon Mothma also try to navigate the politics of taking out money, right? Her own money, her family's money, back in Chandrila. But it's not easy, right? Especially for a senator. There's a lot of policing and a lot of surveillance that goes on with her accounts and her deeds and all of that. And she's got like the most awkward marriage like ever. The her husband is just basically um, he's just basically a figurehead, right? And he's just enjoying the money. He's just enjoying Coruscant. He's not really an activist. You know, he's not really concerned with anything besides his own like having fun type of thing. And so I find that dynamic pretty interesting, to be honest. Hey, what is going on, Archer? Thank you so much for joining, man. Appreciate you. Excuse me. And I've actually been enjoying that quite a bit, seeing all the things that Mon Mothma is sort of having to sacrifice because you know uh, she has to keep the information from uh, she has to keep the information from her family, right? It's just everything has to be compartmentalized right now because they're basically just rebel cells. It's not really an alliance. I wouldn't call it an alliance right now. Um, it's the beginning of one, I guess, and we know that it's going to grow into one. But like I said, it's kind of interesting to see that dynamic, that household dynamic of Mon Mothma. Even though she's powerful and rich and all of that, she's sacrificing quite a bit. And we also see, um, what is up, man? Thank you so much for joining. What's going on, brother? I think so, man. I mean, I don't know if maybe I know you're excited about Titans, but Andor can hold you up until the premiere, which from what I see, it's coming up already. So, what is going on, Jay? Thank you so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate it. Well, the way I see it is, Mon Mothma is trying and failing to sort of contain the emperor's powers, right? Political powers. And it's not working out because the emperor has basically all, or not all of them, but the grand majority of the Senate is, in his pocket in one way or another, whether it be money, secrets, manipulation, etc., etc. So, um, I think she's trying to do the right thing. I don't know enough of her backstory to know that, something happened, to make her this way. But um, but the thing is, she was a senator from the days of the Republic, right? So she's been a senator for a long time by this point. So it's nothing against the Empire specifically. I think it's just like the notion of the Empire, like of Palpatine just having too much power. So she's trying to have change in the galaxy, and it's really just now working out, right? And she, of course, she has charity, she has, donations and stuff like that, but it's not nearly enough. So I guess she decided, a lot more has to be done. Yeah, I'm just joking. I did. I know he is super excited about that. Uh, but we also uh, we also get to see that Andor has to work with a certain known character named Melshi. Now, if you remember Rogue One, Melchi is the captain of the ground troops in Scarif, of the rebel ground troops in Scarif. He's basically the commander on the for the infantry there in Scarif on the suicide mission, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. We see where they met for the first time, and you can see that Melchi, is sort of like low key rebellious, just enough to stand up, but not enough to be punished for it. Not too bad anyway. And so I think he kind of takes a liking to Andor because Andor is obviously asking all the right questions at the wrong time. So there's that. And then we get what we knew was coming for a while, but we hadn't seen it. Luthen actually goes and visits Saw Gerrera. Um, and it was cool to see that he's already living in caves. We saw two tubes, standing guard outside of those caves. We saw the X-wing, the black and white X-wing, which I really like that design. I really like that paint scheme on those. I think they look really cool. And so we see, Saw Gerrera's operation, already being clandestine, already being, on the run type of thing. And again, the funny thing is that Saw Gerrera asked Luthen, right? Was this you? Was Aldani like your doing? And Luthen, of course, plays it off as like, oh, I was going to ask you the same thing. So again, we see the lack of uh, sharing information, right, between the rebel cells, because again, these are just pockets of resistance right now. They can't really have like a coordinated effort. And Luthen says it right. It's like, hey, I brought you some parts, but they come with a price. You got to work with this guy to take down, a power grid. He can't do it alone, and you can't do it alone. But together, piece of cake. And of course, Saw Gerrera being Saw Gerrera, he's like, yeah, no, I don't do, I'm not really a team player, which we know he's really not. Um, I just find it interesting that they basically have to bribe each other into helping each other, right? Like that's just at the stage that this supposed rebellion is at. So I like those dynamics between them. It is cool to see Saw Gerrera. I hope we see more of him. I know we will. Especially, I kind of want to see him fighting because I think his body is still in like fighting shape. I think he still has his legs. I don't remember the scene right now exactly. Um, but I don't think he's in such of a bad shape, physically as he was in Rogue One. So it'd be interesting. I kind of want to see him in action, right? I want to see him, hit military targets, like all that stuff. Um, but yeah, so Forrest Whitaker, just knocks it out of the park always. He's got this character down. I love the little back and forth between him and Luthen, where they start off, kind of like, haha, was it you? Or, like they start off kind of like friendly, kind of playing, and then they get pretty serious, right, about it. I actually love the way Luthen says, it's like, you know who I am. It's like, I'm a coward. It's like, I'm not the guy in the front lines. And I feel that he had to admit that because he knows Saw Gerrera sees through him, right? He knows that there's really no hiding that side of him with Saw Gerrera. Saw Gerrera is quite the opposite. He's too quick to action. He's basically the guy that just jumps in, guns blazing, and the hell with everybody else. So I found that interchange, like that exchange, pretty enjoyable. Yeah, exactly. So Palpatine is the Senate, right? Pretty much. Um, Best interaction in the entire series. Yeah, it so far I can see that. I mean, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Best acting. Yeah, man. Those two actors. I can watch an hour of just them. You know, trying to trick information out of the other one. Right. It's pretty interesting to see. I enjoy it. Um, And so we also see a very familiar face, even though not a familiar character. We actually see Andy Serkis play the manager for the floor, the shop floor where Andor is now working in the prison. So he's kind of like, the it's kind of like the foreman of that floor. Keep everybody in check. Keep the numbers going up for production, all of that stuff. Um, he looks great, man. I mean, I don't know. I hope that character, goes on to something else because I feel like if he's gonna be in there for like a couple episodes, I feel he's kind of wasted on that. He's a really great actor. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So I love to see him, again, transcend a little bit more that character. But I've enjoyed it quite a bit, and so so we finally get to see some familiar faces. Oh, and I almost forgot, we finally got to see a KX series droid, just like K2SO, right? We're not sure if we saw the actual K2SO, but we saw a few of them, so that was pretty cool too. Also, the short trooper that arrests Andor is actually voiced by Sam Witwer, who played the voice of Darth Maul in both Rebels and Clone Wars, and who is the likeness and voice of Starkiller in the Force Unleashed um, video games. And he's done many other things, of course. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. I kind of wish we would see him, you know, but yeah, hopefully, maybe by season 2, which I think they're started filming, by the way. Oh, um, so far in the show, I don't know. I do like Luthen, the way he expressed himself and the way he sort of compartmentalizes, information. But I've been enjoying Mon Mothma, her arc. How somebody with so much power, again, so much influence or supposed influence, and so much money, really, and she's still just, she's like a prisoner in her own life, right? She can't, uh she doesn't really have a relationship with her family, with her daughter, or with her husband, and it's all because she has to keep them away. She can't let them into what she's actually doing, which again is just one of those things that, hey, if you're gonna start, a rebellion against this almighty empire, you don't want your family involved. So you have to kind of make sacrifices, right? Like she's doing, like not interacting with them really. Yeah, dude, Sam Witwer is epic. I mean, he was in Battlestar Galactica, he was in Smallville. He's just all over the place. It's awesome. Oh, the so in the prison where Cassian Andor is, they are building these things that kind of look like gears, maybe like giant gears. There is some pins and some attachments that have a certain degree of movement. Um, and I was actually talking about this last night with the Countdown City Geekcast. I feel that those parts are gonna come into play later on. Uh, that Andor's like mechanical knowledge of that one part, is gonna come in handy somehow. I know people have said, it's for the Death Star, right? Like it's pieces for the Death Star. I thought that it was maybe pieces for one of the mechs, like an ATST or an AT-AT, just because of the size. And again, they kind of look like gears and some sort of pivot, but not a whole lot of movement. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's also a really big possibility these are parts for that power grid that Luthen was trying to convince Saw Gerrera to take down along with that other guy. So they might be related to that. They somehow bust Andor out of prison to go help with that job, and it turns out that those are the pieces that he was building all along. So he knows them very well. Kind of that stuff. What I'm trying to say is that I feel that the pieces won't be random. They might come back into play later on at a later episode. Oh, you and me both, man. I think they have quite an untapped market right there. And it doesn't have to be Star Killer the way we know him in the video games, because he is very OP, right? I mean, by today's standards, but I'd still love to see him as something. It has movement pieces. Yeah, it's got some movement pieces. Like I said, I'm not too sure that they do look very mechanical. I will say that. I don't think there's any like circuitry involved or power distribution or anything like that. It looks purely metal, right? And with some movement. So that's why I say maybe a mech, maybe a starship, but they look kind of clunky to be on a fighter. Not on the Death Star. Yeah, yeah, could be. Um, And so, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to find out what those are. But like I said, it's cool to see Melshi. It was awesome to see Andy Serkis, Saw Gerrera, uh, Mon Mothma, of course, uh, trying to basically make like to commit whatever it's called, but like federal tax fraud, right? With her own money, which is funny. Um, but yeah, so how's everybody? Holding up with Andor? Uh, You still liking it? Are you waiting it for it to finish to possibly binge everything? I keep saying this, and the more episodes that I watch, I think I'm proving myself right. I think Andor is going to be a lot better as a binge show, at least as an arc. If you can watch 3 or 4 episodes at once, I think those are going to play a lot better. So we only got 3 more left in this year. Today, episode 9 dropped, and again, we won't talk about it here today because it just dropped today earlier this morning. So, um, dude, right? I mean, I keep waiting for that. I'm like, come on, guys, you've shown the Senate before. Yeah, same here. Again, I've been enjoying it. It is different. I will never, say otherwise. It is very different. Um, but I like it. I mean, I've been enjoying sort of the interactions or the minutia of the problems. Yes, I am very interested to see if we have a change of pace for the season finale, which is my understanding is the last 2 episodes of the season. Yeah, I see that honestly, especially after today's episode. But yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what I meant. I really hope we get a really big payout. I've been enjoying it either way, but I I see where people are coming from when they say, you know what, this is boring. This isn't what I expected. Again, me personally, I think it's gonna be a way better rewatch than on a week to week basis, like we've been doing it. Okay, let us switch gears here real quick and let's talk about something that's not slow. Tales of the Jedi. So, in case you haven't seen it, we will be talking spoilers for Tales of the Jedi. And as a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and post it right now. Okay. Once again, guys, we're going to be talking about Tales of the Jedi with spoilers. All right. So, uh, if you don't know, and hopefully everybody here has seen them by now, Tales of the Jedi are a mini series of 6 shorts that were dropped last Wednesday on Disney Plus, and they are basically sort of self-contained stories, yet they are part of an arc at the same time. So take that, as you will. Um, and so let's do a little quick here. Let me share my screen with you guys. So, Tales of the Jedi. That's the official cover for it. And again, 6 episodes. And as the poster shows you, it's kind of divided half and half. Half of it deals with Ahsoka, half of it deals with Dooku. And yes, that is Dooku. Very nicely, cleanly shaped. Um, so 6 shorts. I'd say about they're like 10 minutes, man. I mean, I know they keep saying, oh, the runtime is like 17 minutes or whatever, but that's including like 5 minutes of credits. So probably the longest one is maybe like 15 minutes, and I don't even know. I don't even think it reaches that. Luckily, they were all dropped at the same time, so you can binge watch them in like an hour, right, or probably less if you skip through the intros and the credits. So, as you can see from the poster, these are done in the style of the Clone Wars because, of course, Dave Filoni is running the show, and of course, again, Ahsoka is his baby, right? So he had to further the story. On the first one, um, we got baby Ahsoka. She was born, and that's her mom, and it's basically a story of them going hunting. Excuse me. And it's pretty cool to see some of the backstory for Ahsoka. Then the next 3 talk about Dooku, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I just want to sort of wrap up with the Ahsoka. The next episode for Ahsoka was pretty interesting, and it's basically Anakin training Ahsoka with the clones, to be able to deflect like random blaster fire, right, from wherever it's coming in however shape form. And this takes place over several like periods of times throughout the Clone Wars. And the final scene is basically the end of the Clone Wars series when Order 66 is happening. Oh man, I can't even talk tonight. And we already saw that Ahsoka makes it out, but this little short shows you that it was basically thanks to Anakin's training that she was able to be able to escape with her life. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then the last one is probably my favorite one for Ahsoka, because she gets to go to Padme's funeral, which I thought was really cool. They basically copied the shot from episode 3, and there, she talks to Bail Organa, and he kind of tells her, you can't just disappear, all of that. And she basically goes and becomes a farmer. And then the coolest Inquisitor finds her, and man, I need a figure of this guy. He looks dope, and he sounded amazing. I love this Inquisitor. This is probably my favorite Inquisitor that we've seen so far out of all of them. And unfortunately, uh, Ahsoka made really quick work of him. Uh, but something that I wanted to point out is, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the way the fire looks on these is amazing. Like they've done such a good job of improving the animation on these. The details on this fire is kind of crazy. So I found myself like noticing that as I was watching the episodes. Um, that's quick recap for Ahsoka there, and my thoughts on that, on the what I would call the Ahsoka arc, is she's a very popular character. Again, all of these come from the mind of Dave Filoni. He wrote all of them, um, and the story goes that he was on a really long flight and he just started writing for because he was bored, right? So he just started writing for fun, and he came out with a few short stories, and then his publicist or his agent was like, hey, you got some good stuff here, we should just go ahead and get something done. And he said, you know what, he was kind of playing it as a throwaway story. And um and then it turns out that the agent actually got him money to produce a series, and he's like, oh crap, now I really gotta write some of these. So I actually saw the first episode, the one with baby Ahsoka, um, at Celebration back in May. This one, and he showed us, the whole thing. Dave Filoni was in the room. He told us this story that I just told you, about how these shorts came to be. But apparently, the first short that he wrote was actually the story of Plo Koon finding baby Ahsoka, or toddler Ahsoka, and discovering that she was force sensitive. Um, to which, when they showed us this one, he said, "Oh, I decided to change it and make it more like family centric, etc." And I'm like, I mean, this is cool and all, but I really want to see now that story, right, with Plo Koon and Ahsoka. I hope that we get to see it in season 2 of Tales of the Jedi, because let's be honest, we're gonna get more Tales of the Jedi for sure. Um, I think Tales of the Jedi did a really good job at invigorating, the fans. I think overall it's been pretty well accepted. At least I haven't heard anything, bad about it, honestly. Yeah, exactly, man. Like I was like, dude, he looked so badass. He sounded amazing, and he was gone in like 30 seconds. So there you go, stamp of approval from my man Archer over at Nerd Affiliated. I know, we've talked about it here on a previous episode of The High Ground that my man is not quite the biggest fan of Andor, but from what I see here, he liked Tales of the Jedi. And again, it's good to see something that it's widely accepted. I keep saying it, man. I mean, just Filoni is he just has that how can I say it? He has that love for the franchise, right? He's amazing with the stories and the canon and all that stuff. So um, he puts out amazing content that the fan enjoys because he's a fan, right? I think that goes a long way. Uh, you know, it's funny you say that, LeBron, because when we were at the panel at Celebration, uh, Dave Filoni did say, he's like, okay, well, I had to create something to compete against Grogu, and that was pretty tough. So they spent a lot of time apparently designing Baby Ahsoka, and he's like, I think we're giving Grogu a run for his money, that. So I thought that was hilarious, and it's funny you bring that up. Pretty young, man. I mean, normally, if you would live in a system that a standard system that was part of the Republic, they would be testing the children, the children's blood, almost at their birth. They would take samples But if nothing else, I think it was like a few months old. And if they were deemed to be force sensitive, they could be taken, as babies, like literally as 6 months old, or around that time. Not even toddlers. Of course, that wasn't the case with everybody, because not all systems were, how can I say it, part of the survey or part of the census, right? And so systems that were in the outer rim and things like that, sort of fell to the cracks. There was no real like Jedi presence or Republic presence there. So there was no like scouting. And from what we see on the short with baby Ahsoka, it seems that her village was pretty secluded, pretty low tech for Star Wars. So maybe that's what happened, right? Because I want to say we did get a flashback in Clone Wars where we saw that Plo Koon, kneels down and says hi to an already standing baby Ahsoka. So I'd say she was probably like 2 or 3 about at that point. But again, I want to see it happen. Um, so I would take that over this, honestly. But again, this Dave Filoni felt that we didn't really know much about Ahsoka's family. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was kind of one of those things that are kind of iffy, right, about the Jedi Order. That just come in and be like, hey, I'm just gonna take your child. It's basically the law. You can't do anything about it. You will never be able to contact him. And if you run into him, when he's on a mission, he won't know who you are. So yeah, bye. Oh, by the way, we are the good guys, right? It's one of those things. There you go. That about sums it up right there. I'm just gonna leave that comment up for a little bit. Um, so that's basically it for Ahsoka. Like I said, nothing too crazy that we haven't seen. Or sorry, let me take that back. Nothing too crazy that we didn't know about, but we had not seen him, right? And that's the general theme for Tales of the Jedi. These are stories that we are familiar with. We just didn't see the details before, right? So they're filling up some of the gaps. Now they also have the 3 episode arc of one gorgeous Count Dooku and his Padawan learner Qui-Gon Jinn. So this is a shot from the episode 2 of Tales of the Jedi, and this is the first episode of the Dooku arc. Um, they basically go into a planet, and somebody has kidnapped the senator's son, and they have to rescue him. The senator shows up and basically, demands that these guys arrest everybody that was involved, and they notice that it's just a bunch of poor people, right? They're trying to get the senator's attention because the senator keeps basically pocketing money that is hurting the planet. So, you know, a confrontation ensues, of course, and then when the senator basically says, "You know what? I'm just gonna kill everybody here. I'm gonna destroy this town so that I make an example out of it for others that are thinking about doing the same." Dooku basically snaps and force chokes the senator and force pushes Qui Gon, which I thought was pretty cool. Of course, Qui Gon and the senator's son kind of bring him back to his senses, and he doesn't really kill anybody. But um, but yeah, so it was awesome to see these two together. Um, I love the clean shaven, both of them, since we've always known them with a beard. Fun fact that Qui Gon Jinn was voiced by Liam Neeson's son, so to portray a younger version of him, which again is just stroke of genius, right? It's just those little details that I've come to enjoy so much, and also and maybe I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but the the all the voices are back basically from the Clone Wars to the show. As you can see, the animation is exactly the same, so it just plays right into it. Right, they seamlessly join together, even though all of these stories are outside of the Clone Wars era. These ones with Dooku are before Episode One, well before Episode One, of course, um, and the some of them play out in at the same time as Episode One and Episode Three. So again, just love the way everything integrates with the shows, with the movies, and so the next episode that has to deal with Dooku, uh, we see first of all we see Dooku with a beard, which is awesome, and then we got Mace Windu along with him. Um, yeah, right. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because they were all trained as a group, right, as younglings, but then a master would choose a Padawan, and would get the rest of the training. In the legends now, like I don't know if it's still canon or not, but at least in the legends, if a youngling did not get a master, they would actually be put to work, like doing chores or basically helping like crops grow, using the force and like very basic tasks, which I always thought was horrible. Like, oh, you're not. It's like you're sort of an orphan because we made you one, but we can't give you everything that we promised anyway. So here's a life of a farmer that you maybe would have had anyway, but at least you would have been with your family, right? So that again, that used to be the way before. I don't know if that's still canon or not. Dude, yes, I agree completely. I don't know where Qui-Gon Jinn's braid is, okay? And I kind of wish I had an answer for that. I need to look it up. But yeah, he should have a braid right there. I'm all okay with the longer hair, that's fine, but a braid, like, definitely should be there. And so the next episode has to deal with uh, Dooku and Windu, and they're basically playing good cop, bad cop, right? I don't know. That's a good question. I hope so. And so yeah, so this episode was interesting because one, we got to see Dooku and Windu fight against some pretty cool uh, battle droids. Actually, these are again, this is before Episode One, just before it, and they got to fight these guys, which I kind of liked. I'll be honest with you. I kind of want a figure of these guys. They look pretty badass. They didn't do good like at all against both Dooku and Windu. And again, Dooku and Windu are some of the most powerful Jedi Masters at the time. So I don't blame them, but I kind of like the way these dudes look. So they basically have to go and retrieve the body of Master Katri, who was murdered. They investigate what happened, and turns out she was betrayed. And so they try to ambush both Dooku and Windu. Of course, it doesn't work out. They uncover a rebel cell. Basically they want to overthrow the system. Well, they don't want to overthrow the senator. They want to capture him and make him pass laws that benefit the planet, because uh, he has been inviting off-world corporations to just basically ransack the planet natural resources. So they're fed up and they decide to do that. But the dynamic here is kind of cool because Dooku really wants to investigate what happened to Master Katri, and Windu is like, hey, that's not what we are doing here. That's not what they sent us. And so they find out about the plot, they stop it, etc., etc. They take Master Katri's body back, and they have a funeral, which was cool to see, by the way. And of course, we see some familiar faces. We got Yoda, we got Plo Koon, we got Sal Satine, we got Mundi, of course, Mace Windu, Dooku, and a few others. But they the episode ends when Dooku finds out that first of all, Katri was in the High Council, right, in the Jedi High Council. Now that she's dead, they're giving her spot to Mace Windu. And so Dooku asks Mace Windu, is like, "Hey, did you know this was gonna happen? Because it seems like awfully convenient." And Windu, of course, is like, "No, no, I had no idea," and stuff. And I'm like, man, like that. I don't know. Like they're making me doubt, Dooku's integrity. Like, because he was such a stickler for rules, and I'm like, well, was he just doing that so that he could have like a perfect record and fast track himself into the council? So again, that's the beauty of these stories. Even though they're not long episodes, but they have so much packed in that they left you wondering for like days after the episode is gone. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. Um, Oops, I got a little bit lost. Dude, yes, that was the best part of this show, honestly, and I'll talk about it more on the next episode here. Yeah, guys, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button right now. That helps out the video get out there, and helps the channel grow a little bit more as well. Remember, we are pushing for 500 subscribers. We're getting pretty close, so I appreciate all the support. Dude, in like honestly, after being done with these 3 episodes, you're like, dude, like I see where Duke is coming from. I I get it. It honestly it makes sense. Like a lot of it makes a lot more sense now. Uh, and again, that's just good storytelling. When we know he goes bad, it's just why he goes bad and the way he goes bad. That's the beauty of this show. Um, so let's just jump right into my favorite episode, which is the third episode of the arc with Dooku, and that has to deal with um, Master Yaddle. So uh, this is Dooku more as we see, closer to episode 2. Master Yaddle, the only other Yoda species that we know, um, and you know this was awesome to see. This is, like I said, this is my favorite episode. And I won't go too much into it because I got a video coming out where I'm doing a review of all of them. So I haven't posted this one yet. So I'll get a lot more into it. But it's my favorite episode, like I said already, and it has to deal with basically Dooku's actions in the films. This fills up some of the gaps for episode 1, some of the gaps for episode 2, and we fill up the gap of what happened with Master Yaddle. Uh, this is by far, I feel the most contributing to the story episode that we got on this whole show. This is where some long-standing questions are answered. Questions from like 20 years ago. So again, guys, if you haven't, just go ahead and check out Tales of the Jedi. It's so much worth your time. Um, exactly right. I mean, it's just Anakin was, of course, a lot younger, so I think Sidious was playing into all of that. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That's exactly right. This episode, yeah, this episode is everything here. Uh, Separatists were going to be the side that win the war and dissolve the Republic. Excuse me. I think I'm getting sick. I don't know. That's a good question. I've heard conflicting answers on that. I don't think that he knew that I don't think that he believed that the Separatists were going to win the war, but I'm not sure that he thought or he knew that the Empire was going to be what it ended up being. So I'm not too sure there. But yes, so Darth Sidious is in this episode, and I love the way he just kind of shrugs off everything that's going on around him. Like there's so much chaos, but he's like so much in control of Duke already at this point that he knows exactly what his next move is gonna be. It's funny you say that. Bryce Dallas Howard does make really good Star Wars. She's actually the voice of Yaddle, as I'm sure everybody here knows. But I just saw a note earlier that Dave Filoni wants to bring her into animation. He wants her to direct animated shows for Star Wars. Which, hey, I mean, she's done a good job so far directing live action. So why not, right? Let her try. Uh, Thank you. Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, he was charismatic, dude. Like he obviously knew the Jedi Order. He was powerful. He's one of the best swordsmen that the Jedi Order had at the time. So yeah, why he's also he he was basically like the heir of a whole planet, right? That's why he's a count. So he could have been heavily political as well, which he was in his later days. Uh, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so yeah, oh yeah, I agree. Um, so yeah, guys, Tales of the Jedi. I can't say enough. It's just an awesome show. Again, doing a little bit of housekeeping because we're getting close to the 1 hour mark here. But speaking of Tales of the Jedi, I am putting out a review series for each and every single episode. Today I dropped the episode 2. Episode 3 should drop either tomorrow or Friday. I still don't know. If I can edit it tonight, I might just post it up tomorrow. And then I want to do a really good job on this episode, this third episode for Dooku, which is episode 4 overall. I really want to take my time and just try to digest as much as I can, so that I share everything, because this again, I can't say it enough. This is by far my favorite episode, and the one that packs a punch, and the one that really intertwines with the movies. So go ahead and check them out if you haven't. They are amazing. Dave Filoni does it once again, um, and I want more, and I'm sure we're gonna get more. I wouldn't mind a whole season dedicated to Dooku. Um, there's just so much to unpack there. Exactly. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Um, so let's see, what do we got going on? Let me share something here real quick. Where are we? I like you guys to go ahead and check out my man, LeBron Fett, who's here in the chat being very active. And I always appreciate you, brother, for stopping by. That is his YouTube channel right there on the chat. So just go ahead and click it. Go check out his stuff. He does amazing toy photography. He does figure reviews. And let's start growing up his channel. All right. If you haven't subscribed, I would greatly appreciate it if you give him a follow there on YouTube. He's also on Instagram, so go check out his stuff as well. Because he's working on growing his channel, and like I said, he's doing a really good job on his videos. Like, his toy photography is very cool stuff. He just posted some stuff for Halloween, and he makes use of some cool black light effects on the figures. So go check him out for sure. Again, link is right there on the chat. Let me see if I can find. Nah, man, you're welcome. I appreciate you stopping by every night or every time here at the high ground. Hey, what is going on? AFP in the house. How's it going, man? Good, good, good. Yeah. We'll talk about that one next week. But yeah, I just got finished, gushing over Tales of the Jedi. I hope that you liked it, man. Like I said, most people have, but yeah, doing a review series on the channel. So hopefully you can check that out too. Hey man, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Archer. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Like I said, go check out LeBron Fed. Stuff is pretty good. So yeah, so the link is right there on the chat. Now let me pull up. I have something going on tomorrow, which I want to talk about for a couple of minutes. Let me just share the. Excuse me. Let me just share the link if I can find it, so that you guys add it, and hopefully you can join us tomorrow, because oh god, I don't see it. Where's my okay, Anyway, I'll just copy the link. So basically, we are doing a roundtable tomorrow night around 8 p.m. Central, and it's basically gonna be um, dedicated to. There we go. It's gonna be dedicated to mental health. Okay, this will be hosted by T3 Collects on his Overgrown Third Graders podcast, and it's gonna be a few of us, toy hunters, toy collectors. Um, yes, sir, man. No worries. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate you, brother. And yeah, get some rest, man, for sure. Uh, I am actually. So yeah, guys. Let me just show you real quick. This is what the stream looks like. That's the people that are gonna be on it. Um, I am lucky enough to have been invited to it, and again, I think it's gonna be a very good show. It's gonna be an important topic for sure. He has done one before, um, about a month ago, I think, and with other collectors, and Sleeping Collectibles was there, and Dave's Dimension, etc., etc. So go check that one out too. But again, I will be there tomorrow night around 8 p.m. Central, if I'm not mistaken. So if you have time, I would greatly appreciate if you guys join. I think it's gonna be very interesting, and it's a very important topic again. So hopefully you can join. And then on Friday, on a lighter topic, um, let me just find the link also. And I know I should have prepared all those links before, but that's just the kind of impromptu stuff that we got going on here in the bunker. So let me check real quick here. So I could have sworn I shared it already. Maybe not. Okay, just kidding. But on Friday night we will have a guest spot or guest host with the Legacy of Nerd, because my man is going to be working on um, giving away, because he reached 500 subscribers already, which is totally awesome. And it's gonna be a good stream. He's gonna be giving away some stuff. If I can find the freaking link for some reason. Where are we? Here we go. Finally. Okay. All right. That is the link for Friday's stream with the Legacy of Nerd, uh, who was gracious enough, to add me to his thumbnail right there. Love it. Uh, and so, yeah, so he's going to be giving away some stuff. Go ahead and join us. We'll chit chat. I will make fun of me not knowing anything about Power Rangers. It's going to be a good time. So, yeah, guys, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't, to the Legacy of Nerd, to LeBron Fett, to Hey Archer, to everybody that's been here on the chat. Once again, I truly appreciate you, everybody, joining here tonight. Yeah, man, thanks. Oh, cool. Yeah, I know you got I know you got your own live, man, going on. So I'll try to catch some of that, and then I'll probably have to jump off to T3's roundtable. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, exactly right. It keeps you guys guessing. So yes, guys, go ahead and check out all those links in the chat. Again, yes, kind of a busy week for me. I did a stream yesterday. Obviously, I'm doing one today. I got T3s tomorrow, and then I got Friday with the Legacy of Nerd. All of them, have been really good. But I always truly appreciate you coming in for this show that I'm basically the only one most of the time. It really means a lot to me that you hang out and listen to me ramble for about an hour. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody's having a good week. I hope everybody's having a good Day of the Dead. Again, remember our ancestors. They're a little bit closer today. So if you can, leave out some snacks, some coffee, maybe a bottle of tequila, and go ahead and give them thanks for everything they taught us, when they were here with us. So thank you, and I hope you have a good night. Get some rest, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace out, guys.